Gadsden, Allah. It was 1982, and 4 circuit judges from rural Etowah County, Alabama, had filed a state bar complaint against a lawyer named Roy S. Moore, accusing him of running slanderous political ads that had portrayed the local legal system as corrupt. The response from the 35-year-old Mr. Moore, who had just lost his own effort to win a judgeship, was infused with the kind of crusading righteousness his critics would call it sanctimony that would later fuel his rise to national fame. If the judges of Etowah County are personally offended, that is their problem, not mine, he declared in a letter addressing the judge's complaint. Mr. Moore added a line from Proverbs, "The guilty flee when no man pursueth." Today, rather than flee, or at least quit his race for the Senate, as many are demanding, Mr. Moore is declaring his innocence and charging ahead despite allegations of improper sexual behavior. The current furor, in which numerous women have come forward alleging that he approached, dated, or in some cases sexually assaulted them when they were teenagers and he was in his 30s, has played out like a concentrated version of Mr. Moore's combative history, in which he rose to national prominence as an unyielding spokesman for conservative and religious values. Mr. Moore, a Republican, has responded with the same defiance that he exhibited when he was twice removed from his post as Chief Justice of the Alabama Supreme Court, first for dismissing a federal court order to remove a 5 to 80-pound granite monument of the Ten Commandments he had installed in the state judicial building, and later for flouting the United States Supreme Court's decision affirming gay marriage. For good measure, he has declared that homosexuality should be illegal, and that Muslims should not be allowed to serve in Congress. Mr. Moore first made a name for himself as a prosecutor and an anti-establishment political outsider here in Gadsden in the years after 1977, when he returned to Etowah County after an education at West Point, a tour of duty in Vietnam and law school in Tuscaloosa. He already had the contentiousness, if not the overt religiosity. During those years, he was developing another reputation, passed along in whispers. Now they have grown to a roar, threatening to derail what might have been a cakewalk political contest in deeply conservative Alabama. It was a known fact, Roy Moore liked young girls, said Faye Gary, a retired Gadsden police officer. It was treated like a joke. That's just the way it was. One of the women, Lee Korfman, said she was 14 years old when Mr. Moore engaged in a sexual encounter with her. "I stand by my story," said Ms. Korfman, whose account first appeared in the Washington Post. Mr. Moore has denied any impropriety with Ms. Korfman or any other woman. After coming home, Mr. Moore landed a job as an assistant district attorney. M.D. Garman, a former reporter for the Gadsden Times, remembered him as eager to shake things up. He didn't want to be in the clique of judges and the attorneys apparently, Mr. Garman said.